Har Mahadev Jai Bhavani Jai Hind Namaskar. Welcome back to another episode of Industry Talks with BC Anant. Today we have with us someone who fights for the justice and who loves the truth. Our honorable judiciary says SATYAMEVJAYATE, the truth shall prevail, and the man fights for the truth. Today we have with us a lawyer from Bombay High Court, Mr. Dhrutiman Joshi. Dhrutiman bhai, welcome to the show.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. So, Dhrutiman bhai, the show basically is, as you know, we ask some questions, and today we have a few questions that needs to be answered related to the fundamental duties, the rights we have, and the journey you have had. Because a lot of people, a lot of youngsters who watch the show are willing to pursue their career as lawyers. So, a few questions are. So, shall we start?
Yes.
Perfect. So the profession you have comes with a great responsibility, and you have to deal with lies in order to prevail the truth, to get the justice. So how did you get attracted towards the law?
Attraction towards the law basically comes from the thirst of justice and truth. So it is true that we have to deal with a lot of lies. But at the end of it, as you mentioned in the beginning, Satyamevjayate, truth always triumphs. And that truth is something that propels us to, work hard to get justice. And that is what I have been doing. And I've been dealing with lies, definitely. But obviously, at the end of the tunnel, there is truth, which really motivates me to keep on moving.
Very true. The truth, as we discussed in the beginning, should prevail, and that is what makes us and you especially moving. Now, one question that as far as I know you, you are one of the boldest, strongest lawyers. You recently filed a case against Rahul Gandhi and SITARAM, which was a very controversial case. So a lot of people have talked about it. Twitterati talked about it. So can you explain? And adding on to this question, so what was the reason behind it? And please explain.
So this is connected with your first question. Actually, there was lies, and the lie was that Rahul Gandhi and YECHURI said that Gauri Lankesh was killed by Hindutva-sponsored, RSS-sponsored forces, which was not true. And this came out within 24 hours of the murder, and that is something that I wanted to deal with. And yes, so as we said, the thirst for justice and truth. That was the only reason that I have filed the defamation case against both of them. Mr. Rahul Gandhi and YECHURI, both of them made a defamatory statement against RSS. Back then, when Karnataka had their own government, if you remember and recall, in 2017, Karnataka was under the rule of JDS and Congress.
Yeah.
So even after their government in the state, they blamed on RSS, which was incorrect. And I felt it was absolutely not proper for them to. As you said, the earlier question was of truth, and there was lies, and I had to. We cannot just sit idle and deal with the lies. So for the justice and truth, I filed a criminal defamation against Sitaram YECHURI and Rahul Gandhi, where they had alleged that RSS is involved in Gauri Lankesh's murder. And this allegation came just within 24 hours of the murder, without any investigation or without any proper know-how of what has happened. And that is the reason that I had filed the criminal defamation, and it is ongoing right now in the court of law.
We hope you win the case, because since RSS is always termed as the Hindu Atankvad, I don't know why, because I'm also connected to RSS for the last 2 years, and I have never seen any sort of Atankvad. Coming to the next question.
I'm connected since my childhood, and I have not seen any.
True, and recently a report came in which more than half of the students in the civil services qualified, they were trained by the RSS.
True.
Yeah. one question that is very important, as you are a lawyer, a criminal lawyer, but still I want to know the fundamental duties every citizen of this country should know, the rights
Fundamental
as well. Yeah,
fundamental duties or rights?
rights, I must.
Rights. So there are many fundamental rights, but in particular, if you speak what is going on in today's date, what we see, uh, freedom of expression is one of the fundamental rights that we have. But we have to use it very, very cautiously. We can't. We have to see that we use it as constructive freedom of expression and not destructive freedom of expression. Fundamental rights is a very huge topic, but I'm only focusing on what something is happening in today's day when freedom of expression is used or abused rather than, uh, 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 as it is not used something that has been guaranteed to us in the constitution. It is abused. And in this freedom of expression, under the garb of freedom of expression, we see a lot many abuses hurled not at the government but at our motherland, which I am strictly against of.
Right, freedom of speech often, very much misused with the recent evolution of urban Naxals and the communist Twitterati. Uh, the next question, as you said in the second question about the truth, there are a lot of pseudo, def, the pseudo-faced people who want to rupee people who defame the honorable judiciary. Recently, the attacks on honorable Supreme Court has gone up and up. And what do you suggest the common citizens in order to avoid that negative influence by these people?
As I said, this freedom of expression should be used for constructive criticism. For example, a person should understand that when any person, maybe he's a very big senior advocate of the Supreme Court, or he's a big activist or a politician, if this freedom of used selectively to criticize selective judgments, for example, Ram Janmabhoomi judgment or Rafale judgment, and then if you say that this is my freedom of expression, then this is not freedom of expression, but this is abuse of freedom of expression. There is no constructive criticism here. This is only destructive. If you really want to have constructive freedom of expression, you are welcome to do so. But recently, what we have seen is selective criticism, and I think public at large should understand that when there is selective criticism, it should be totally and outrightly rejected.
Yeah, that is why the Honorable Supreme Court has to show them their position by fining them a rupee
One
or
rupee.
so. Yeah, and that too is being funded by somebody else. So I hope the awareness is coming. I see the awareness, the awakening coming up in the common masses, and that is a good, uh, a sign. Now, one thing, since you are a youngster and a dynamic youngster, I must not forget to confess this. What is your message to the youth?
Message to the youth is what we find in our Shastra. Tishtata, Jagrata, as Vivekanand has said it, but many don't know that it forms a part of the Upanishad. So arise, awake, understand what your country is, what the roots of this, what the history of the country has been. Country is not something that has come during the Mughal rule or 1947 freedom struggle. It is much, much more than that. And if the youth sincerely understand the actual history of our country, I think uh, this country will really become the Vishwaguru, as we have all dreamt of.
Very true. And we hope with the introduction of the new education policy 2020, this seems to be a bit closer. The Vedic education, the most modern and
Right,
most advanced sort of education.
right.
Now, I generally don't like to end the show, but thank you first thing first that you accepted the request to be here on the show. And I know the uh, time constraints we have had in the previous times when we were trying to discuss that when are we going to meet and all. But how do you feel here to be on the show, and what are your views about industry talks?
Oh, great, great. I think you are doing a very good job, and you should continue doing it. And I think the youth of the country need to know the right news, and not the shouting match which is going on the national television. And you're really, it's a great thing that you're doing this, and I hope you continue doing this and bring, as I said, the right and the true, correct news to the youth of this nation.
Thank you very much. I dedicate all these kind words to my Bhavani and Shambhu and the family and the team behind it. And thank you very much. I hope together we can make the truth prevail and the Vishwaguru re-establish again. The great dream of our ancestors that was in order to restore the greatest civilization ever. And the pseudo news across should be, just banished out of the whole world. We need to do it before the Kaliki Dev Avataran takes place. So
Correct.
with this, we come to the close of the show. We come to the end of the show, but every ending starts with a new beginning. So we will be back with another new episode, another new guest. And till then, keep smiling, stay safe, stay home, and don't forget to wear your mask. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. We will keep on bringing the new episodes. Signing out with a smile. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.